Coronado, which incidentally is where he met his wife Tara. After graduating from SEAL training, he deployed to Fallujah, Iraq, for the first of 5 deployments overseas. On his 3rd deployment in 2012, his life changed forever. 6 months into his tour, he was wounded by an IED blast in Afghanistan. His right eye was destroyed in the blast, and his left eye was badly damaged. In fact, doctors believe he might never see again. But after several difficult surgeries, he regained his sight in his left eye. A miracle, according to his surgeons. The hero sitting with us today refused to quit the military and went on to deploy twice more, once to the Middle East and once to South Korea. In 2016, he was medically retired as lieutenant commander after serving for 10 years. He left service with 2 Bronze Stars, 1 with Valor, the Purple Heart, the Navy Commendation Medal with Valor, among others. In November 2018, he was elected to represent the people of Texas's 2nd Congressional District as he sits on the Homeland Security and Budget Committees. His life has been defined by service before self. He knows there is no higher calling than service to the American people. It is beyond an honor to have him here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Commander and Congressman Dan Crenshaw.
Thank you all so much for that warm welcome. Thank you, Mike, for being here. I appreciate the hospitality in your amazing district. John, thank you for letting me be here and speak to this amazing group. Thank you to my wife. I want to say that, we're thanking veterans today. We're honoring veterans, but veterans' families really go through more hardship than you can imagine. My wife would certainly remind me of that. And they're the real heroes. They sit back while we're on deployment doing what we love, but not knowing what kind of danger we might be in, what kind of sacrifices might await us. So thank you all for being here. And of course, thank you to the wonderful men and women who work at the Reagan Library for their dedication, their hard work, and their hospitality. It's been absolutely incredible, and it's such an honor to be with you all on Veterans Day. It's an important day for the obvious reason, right? To honor our vets. Honor their sacrifice of their families, to tell them that we not only thank them for their service, but that we will never forget. But see, that's just the start. It seems to me we have grown accustomed to the ritual of thanking our veterans. This is a good thing, no doubt. But I worry that we have also grown forgetful about the principles those same veterans stand for. I think on this Veterans Day, it might be worth remembering what it is veterans fight for in the first place. And of course, it's this. It's all of this. It's all of you. And not just the beautiful hills you see here. America is much more than her physical landscapes, as majestic as they are. It's the American spirit, this great American experiment. America is the greatest idea in human history. A republic constructed upon the principle that government exists to protect your God-given rights. America is your freedom to speak freely, your freedom to pursue your happiness, your freedom to take risk, unburdened by the whims of a select elite few in government bureaucracy. Preserving the legacy that is the American spirit is no easy task. Though we pretend it is self-sustaining, in fact, it is not. President Reagan famously warned us that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. I think there are many who rightfully fear that that moment is closer than we might have imagined. It's surprisingly easy these days to lose gratitude for the miracle that America is. Easier for many to embrace self-pity, resentment, and envy of another. It's always easier to demand more of others than it is yourself. Easier to feel like a victim instead of a victor. Accountability and personal responsibility are hard things, after all. Maybe it's here that veterans have something to teach us. So on this Veterans Day, I'll give you 5 lessons that we can learn from our veterans. These are 5 lessons in fortitude. Number 1, seek perspective. When I was hit by an IED in 2012 in Afghanistan, I was left blind for weeks. I was unsure if I'd ever see again. My doctors certainly did not think I would see again. This was perhaps the hardest physical trauma I'd ever dealt with. But it wasn't the hardest thing anyone had dealt with. Many of my teammates had paid a far greater price. Many Gold Star wives, my dear friends, were still without their soulmates. I laid there and I thought of my own mother, a young woman in her 30s with 2 small children who battled cancer for 5 long years before she lost that battle when I was 10. She didn't partake in self-pity. She dealt with her suffering with grace, humor, and grit. See, there's a hard truth that we must live by. Whatever you're going through, you've probably been through something harder, so you can deal with this too. And if this is indeed the hardest moment of your life, then consider this truth. Someone else has dealt with something harder, and they dealt with it better than you are dealing with it now. This is perspective in the most fundamental sense. And this seems like an especially important lesson in the year 2020. Times are hard for many this year, no doubt about it. But if we are being honest, this is not our country's darkest times, far from it. It behooves us to put our hardships in perspective. From perspective comes gratitude, and from gratitude comes hope, and from hope comes perseverance. We are a people that does not wallow in despair, but overcomes. And we do so because there is no other choice. Lesson number 2, do something hard. Modern society has fooled people into thinking the purpose of life is to end all suffering. Make all hardships go away. Seek comfort and pleasure as if these things are the ultimate goal, as if living your best life is nothing more than indulging in the pleasures of modern times. Many in our country have come to believe that what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. There is a belief that all opposing opinions are harmful to one's health, that safe spaces must be sought out to protect you from harm. But this is not true. The best things in life must be worked for. They must be sacrificed for. The truth is that suffering must not be avoided, but embraced. It is unavoidable, after all, because we live in the real world, not the world we wish were real. Veterans, and the vast majority of Americans, for that matter, know there are no safe spaces in the real world. We know that true purpose, true happiness, is achieved through hardship. We know that in order to live your purpose, you must challenge yourself willingly. For the hardships that are imposed upon you, well, you must embrace the suck, as we say in the SEAL teams. You embrace it because you have no choice. You tell yourself a story of overcoming your hardships, not falling victim to it. There's value in our suffering. You punish yourself in the gym because it makes you stronger. You put in extra hours at work because it makes you more competitive. You train longer, you wake up earlier, and try to be kinder to those you might despise. These things are good because they are hard. You overcome your pain because to do so builds character. It builds fortitude. So do something hard. Lesson number 3, no plan B. In BUDS, the 6-month basic training that SEALs go through to prove themselves worthy, the only men that make it are those who never gave themselves a choice. This is a deeper concept than just not quitting. It is living according to the purpose, according to the mission that you set out for yourself. Those who ring the bell 3 times to signal that they have dropped out of training, they gave themselves a choice. They allowed themselves to have a plan B. Now, I don't mean plan B as a contingency. Everyone has a backup plan, or at least you should. If you want to be an artist, but you can't paint, and you change career paths as a result, I don't think that makes you a quitter. Quitting is something that happens deep within, when you know you gave up on the best version of yourself. It happens when you don't live according to the purpose, according to the mission that you knew that you could. Purpose is your plan A. It's giving 110%. Plan B is cutting corners. Plan B is doing just enough to get by. Plan B lands you in mediocrity, but living plan A elevates you above your current self. comforts of modern society allow many of us to make those excuses, to live a lesser version of our best self. We must avoid this temptation and live with no plan B. Lesson number 4, the right sense of shame. In the SEAL teams, we often say, don't be that guy. This means exactly what it sounds like. Don't be the guy who forgets the right piece of gear on a mission. Don't be the guy who is late to muster. Don't be the weakest link. Others' lives are depending on it, so it's a pretty important principle to live by. Shame is good. Shame is accountability. Shame means you actually feel bad about your shortcomings instead of lazily accepting them. Too often these days we become obsessed with living our own truth. Our institutions, instead of forming our future generations into tough, courageous Americans, have instead stopped to coddle our youth, tell them they are never wrong, never in need of self-improvement. Self-esteem becomes a goal in itself without consideration for virtue or moral strength. But here's the hard truth. None of us are fine the way we are. And that's okay. We all have work to do. But that work will never get done. We will never hold ourselves accountable. We will never know what to strive for if we do not feel a sense of shame when we have done wrong. Lesson number 5, a sense of duty. The whole point of feeling shame is not just to make you feel bad. It is to pave the way for doing what is right, to live with duty. In the military, the concept of duty is so deeply ingrained that it becomes self-evident. One does the right thing because it is the right thing. End of story. To do otherwise is to betray your flag and your teammates. Sure, there are orders, rules in place to direct one's actions. No one is perfect, after all. But for the most part, this sense of duty must be self-actualizing. You have a duty to ensure your gear is squared away, your batteries charged, your magazines loaded. You will not be the weakest link. This has practical value, but also deeper moral value. To be a dutiful citizen is no different. At least it shouldn't be. We should strive to do the simplest of things right. Be on time, work hard, do what it takes. Help our neighbors before demanding that government does it for us. This has always been a key pillar of American exceptionalism. Pope John Paul II, St. John Paul II, for you Catholics in the audience, said that freedom consists not in doing what we like, but in having the right to do what we ought. Fundamentally, what does this mean? It means that our country, our great republic, is centered around this concept of a dutiful citizen. Freedom is not unbridled hedonism. It is ordered liberty. Only a moral, dutiful people can be trusted with freedoms. Otherwise, we are nothing but a society in turmoil and chaos. Laws can be enforced after they are broken, but it takes a good and moral people to avoid breaking them in the first place. And a proper sense of duty comes from a proper sense of moral truth. In the House of Representatives, the words "In God we trust" are inscribed above the chair of the Speaker of the House. Our laws, our country's founding, were based in absolute truth, derived from God. This anchors us, and it's more important than I think people realize. We avoid duty, we avoid truth at our own peril. Our society, our country cannot survive an increasing number of citizens that wish only to survive off the work and ingenuity of others. We have a duty to be stronger citizens if our great American experiment is to survive. And veterans have long sought to protect these values, to impart these lessons, because American values aren't necessarily self-sustaining. Personal responsibility, mental fortitude, moral truth, gratitude for our nation, liberty to pursue our happiness, these things must be taught and passed down. Our institutions must rediscover their purpose in molding our future generations instead of simply reflecting the emotional whims of a restless youth. We can only embark upon such a journey if we rediscover some gratitude for the foundations that make our country the miracle that indeed it is. This place, this idea, is built upon the greatest ideas that humankind ever had. From Jerusalem we learned moral truth. From Athens we discovered philosophy and reason. From Rome the rule of law and the structures of a republic. and from London the first elements of the free market, common law, and the revelation from the Magna Carta that even kings must be subject to laws. And we wrote these ideas down in Philadelphia. This grand experiment has created more good and more prosperity than any other in human history. Our story is unparalleled. It is one of true exceptionalism. It is why Reagan called us the last best hope on earth and paved the way for us to live up to that hope, to persevere. And I think we can. I think we must. I think the next century will be America's best and brightest if we only believe it is our duty to live up to our greatest ideals. God bless you. God bless our veterans, and God bless our great country. Thank you so much.
It was the very moving and inspirational speech there by Representative Dan Crenshaw, Republican out of Texas. We're going to take a quick break right here on News Now from Fox. Stay right here with us.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Well, now it's time for my favorite part of the program, where we